Here are 9 bugs that may be affecting your Pokemon Sleep gameplay right now. Welcome back, it's Bro Vinny here. Now, I've actually been delaying this video for weeks and months, but I finally feel ready to talk about all the negative bugs in this game. Sometimes I feel like I'm tiptoeing around the app whenever I play, because the gameplay doesn't feel robust. And one wrong step can set you back quite a bit, and it really shouldn't be like that. And so I've come up with this list of 9 things that I feel like should be seriously considered to be improved in the game, hopefully as quickly as they patch all the positive bugs. The positive bugs like getting 2 times the hungry, using good cam ticket, or remember the time we got an extra bonus biscuit? This was very early on, so many players wouldn't remember this by now. And how the developers say they're going to soft ban people for using time zone method too much. All of these good bugs being patched within days or weeks of my videos being made. So this time I'll be doing it the other way around. I'm talking to you about all the negative bugs, all the bugs that negatively affect players, in the hopes that the developers will patch these things earlier. Because I'm just getting sick of all these good things being taken away and all these bad things still being there months and months later. And I'll be putting up a poll in the comments section below, so if you find that one of these bugs have applied to you in the past, you can let us and the developers know by leaving a like on it. Number 1, your tracking sleep crashed. And I almost feel like almost everybody would have felt this or had experienced this at some point. And it could be due to a variety of factors. The most common of which would be your phone overheating overnight or just the app crashing. And I understand that without sleep data, the game can't really reward you, but it just feels like the punishment is too harsh. Not only do you wake up with no sleep research sessions sometimes, because really the only excitement in this game is to wake up to some new sleep styles or new Pokemon. And then for the rest of that day, following that sleep, your Pokemon are running on low energy. I mean, imagine starting your day looking like this. Yeah, sure, failing to track sleep is one thing, and that's punishment enough. But then for the rest of the next day, you have to deal with this, where the only way to deal with it is either to take a nap session and you run a recovery incense, but still probably not getting 100% because usually the nap session is a bit shorter, or just dumping all your energy pillows. If you didn't have that, then you're just running a team with 0 energy. I mean, unless you got some sort of backup team, that's what you just got to deal with. Now, in some cases, what you would do is you would add manual sleep data. And at the very least, that would provide you with the ability to use your bonus biscuit from the lost track sleep to the next session. So you would have 2 bonus biscuits for the next session, and also provide you with energy recovery 100% if yesterday's sleep was your only session. But in the case where you do naps, so you have 2 sessions a day, if it's your second session, the add sleep data doesn't work. It doesn't give you energy back. So if you only did a nap for say 2 hours, you still have 6.5 hours where you can't recover that energy even by manual sleep data. And it clearly states that here, but I still feel like that is too much of a punishment. So if they can't fix the app crashing, at the very least give us this sort of manual sleep data for the second session. I don't understand why it has to be that the second session does not reward you with anything, when often it's the long session. But of course that still doesn't fix everything, because sometimes it did track, but it only tracked for a little bit, where your sleep data ends up looking something like this. So not only is it a double whammy, so not only did you not get to do a sleep research, you did not recover energy, and you cannot recover energy if it's your second session, and thirdly, your sleep consistency is affected because of one night's sleep tracking failed. That is a triple whammy for one crashed sleep. And I feel that's highly unfair for players who experience this. And I've definitely heard of people who quit because of how many times they simply couldn't track sleep. So either give us a better way to recover from this, or optimize the app some more so they don't crash as often. Number 2, we have unofficially called this the Monday bug. And this is brand new. We have not talked about this on video before. but there's been extensive reports about this in my Discord channel. And it only happens on Monday. I think it happens in a way that some people might not even realize that the bug happens to them. And this happened to me for the first time this week. And it happens to be the week that I'm in for the first time in Snowdrop Tundra. But it definitely has been happening for a lot of my members over the last few weeks or months. So you can see here that I'm just finishing my week from last week. And what the Monday bug is, if you take a look at the productions from my Pokemon, it may not be obvious at first. It seems okay over here, but look at Blastoise, look at Venusaur, and look at Charizard. They're not dropping very much at all. That is 7 productions from Blastoise, which is equivalent to 4 times Berry being trigger and 1 time Cacao being trigger. So only 5 times did a production get triggered over the entire sleep. And of course you can clearly see that the carry limit has not been reached. And it's almost as though these Pokemon have been farming at 0% energy. But it's worse than that, because this is actually an 8-hour sleep. As you can see here, I tracked from 12 AM to 8:35 AM. Now I'm not talking about sneaky snacking, I'm talking about the productions that are in the Pokemon's inventory. I'm fully aware that sneaky snacking doesn't go to Monday's Snorlax because it would go to last week's Snorlax. That's why you don't get sneaky snacking for your first collection on Monday. And it seems to happen to random people at random times. It doesn't happen all the time. Everything in this bug reporting channel, well, almost everything in this bug reporting channel is about that Monday bug. Look at how little productions there are on these images, and these are all on Monday morning. As you can see, these players have just Pokeball 1 and 0 strength. And that is not right. We have theorized whether this is because the productions only count from 4 AM, so maybe the Pokemon drops all of their inventory to last week's Snorlax to start sort of collecting again. But even then, that still doesn't make sense. There should, even if it counts from 4 AM to when you wake up, there should be more productions than this. So there's no known fix for this. My only recommendation, if it suits your schedule and if it doesn't affect your sleep consistency too much, is to start your Monday as soon as you can. So what I mean by that is wake up at 4 AM and then just end your tracking if it makes sense, because obviously you don't want to affect your sleep score. But if it makes sense to wake up at 4 AM, then start your Monday at 4 AM so that your production begins at full power. Of course, that's just an extreme example, but let's say you normally wake up anywhere between 7 AM or 8:30 AM. Well, maybe for Monday you should wake up at 7 just to collect these crappy Monday bug collections so that you can start your week off stronger. So in comparison, this is what another one of my Mondays look like, the same Blastoise. And again, just to show you guys, this is not an isolated report. Look how few productions there are. Number 3, and I did this testing very early on. The game does not warn you if you transfer a shiny Pokemon. And there's been a few reports now of people who have accidentally transferred a shiny they didn't realize. Like Pikachu or Togepi or Jigglypuff. They just have shinies that don't look like shinies. And it's strange to me that they haven't introduced an extra warning when you include a shiny, when you transfer, when you send them to the professor. It should ask you, like in Pokemon Go, where you try to send a shiny to the professor, that are you sure you want to transfer it? This one is a shiny. Now, this is not a bug, it's more just a bad game design. Number 4, there should be a way where we can push our bonus biscuit to the second session. And while arguably this is not a bug, what does become a bug is when you still have a bonus biscuit, yet there's nothing left to feed on the field. And I did this testing in another video before, where I fed everything on the field just to see what happens to my bonus biscuit. And this game says that, oh, it will just be randomly given out to a Pokemon, but there's no Pokemon left on the field. So then what happens is it ends up looking like a ghost ate the bonus biscuit. And I don't mean a ghost type Pokemon, I mean a literal ghost just goes nom 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 and then the biscuit is fed to nobody. And I only recently showed you on a video where on my nap session I actually got triple hungry, and that's usually a good thing. But I didn't want to catch the Gulpin, the Mankey was already 3 bars full, so it was only worth feeding a Pokey Biscuit, and usually I would feed a Pokey Biscuit to a Hungry Ghastly, but I had a bonus biscuit, premium bonus biscuit left. So what I end up doing is feeding the premium bonus biscuit to a Hungry Ghastly, essentially wasting a lot of friendship points. But if I could push this bonus biscuit to the second session, the longer session, so not the nap session, then I would be able to feed it to maybe an evolved Pokemon. Or maybe I'd have more spawns to choose from. And I don't even think this feature would necessarily hurt the pockets of the developers, because we're still just getting 1 bonus biscuit a day, which is not very much. So I would hope that the developers can introduce a feature where we can push the bonus biscuit to the second session, so that it doesn't get fed to empty space. Number 5, and I did a whole video on this one, so I won't go in depth. And to be honest, I'm not sure if it's been fixed, because I haven't tested it again. But the problem is to do with the fact that the team for your productions isn't saved when you change the members, but it's to do with when you press the back button. So if I'm on this edit team page and I say change out this Ditto for a Wigglytuff, but then let's say I got called into work, or I just got busy with something else and I left it on this page. Well, the Pokemon that's actually still farming at this point, even though this might have changed to say Wigglytuff, is actually Ditto. So what happens is when I come back to the game and I press the back button, then the game goes, oh, you didn't collect your stuff from when it was a Ditto. And Wigglytuff hasn't been farming, so you just lose all your productions from the Ditto. Which is why I said, don't do what I did. So never leave your game in the edit team's screen. Always make sure you back out with the correct team so that the new team starts farming. Now the next 4 points are related to the Pokego++. So number 6, again, we don't know why this happens or what causes it or how to fix it. But some people, sometimes, the Nightcap Pikachu just doesn't earn EXP. It just doesn't earn the hours needed, even if you do your normal tracking. So we take this example here where this Pikachu slept 550 hours. Yet in the game, it says that End has slept 1,571 hours. And End has only ever used the Go++ to track sleep. Now this is not an isolated case. There's been 2 or 3 other reports of something similar. I think most other people just don't look at their Nightcap Pikachu that much. I guess arguably the Nightcap Pikachu isn't that broken anyway, so it doesn't matter too much. Having said that, the game should just work. Number 7, and I've talked about this before in the Energy Explained video, which I highly recommend if you want to understand how energy works in this game. But there's a reason why using the Go++ for naps is worse. And to do with the fact that the energy that you recover from a nap is added to when you press this button here. Unlike in the morning where it asks you at the title screen whether you want to synchronize. In which case the energy that you recovered is added to when you started tracking, not when you ended tracking. So with a nap you actually lose more energy compared to someone who uses the phone to track. And I don't feel like it would be that difficult to add energy to the start of tracking because all the information is there. They just got to make sure the energy is added to when the sleep started tracking. But again, this is a niche point that most players probably didn't notice. Thankfully, there is a fix for this. All you have to do is to force the game to ask you to synchronize at the title screen. And the way to do that is before you enter the game, go to menu and use clear cache. It's good to know this anyway, even if you don't have this issue, because clearing cache can also fix other bugs that you might experience in your gameplay in the future. So after clearing cache, when you restart the game and enter the game again, it will ask you whether you want to synchronize at this screen, at the title screen, as opposed to having to click into the game and then synchronize. And doing it this way, you'll return more energy compared to not doing the clear cache option. Number 8, and this one is for people who change devices. And it's already happened to me twice, once with Piggy, which I've talked about in another video some time ago. And I apologize for using the ugliest photo of Piggy I've ever got. So what happened here was, I had moved Piggy's account from one device to another. But without warning, the game naturally just unpairs from the device. But then before going to sleep, I switched it back to her main device, so the original device. And the problem lies with the fact that the game doesn't like you switching devices that much, because every time you switch in the old device, you actually have to delete data or uninstall the app, delete the whole app, and then reinstall it. And understandably, reinstalling the game will require you to repair this Go++. But there was no warning that it had unpaired, so what we did was we naturally just tracked sleep with the Go++ anyway, and in the morning found out that the device had unpaired. Is that a problem? Why can't you just pair it again in the morning and then use the sleep data? Well, I've actually talked about this in another video some time ago. It's the fact that every time you do pair to a new or previous device, the act of pairing removes any existing sleep data that's in the Go++. So if you tracked 8.5 hours in the Go++, well, it's all gone. So in other words, we go back to our first problem. If you remember point 1, we had a failed tracking, which is a triple whammy of a problem, because not only did you not get a sleep research, possibly no energy, but also bad sleep consistency, which seems like a heavy punishment for a problem the game didn't warn us about. I mean, the solution here is simple. Every time the game is reinstalled, or maybe if there's existing data that's been transferred and the game knows that previously you used the Go++, just give us a warning and go, do you need to pair it again before you track sleep? Just a simple warning would help. And point number 9, this actually flows on from point number 8, and it also happened to me this week. So this week at Snowdrop Tundra, which is one of the most difficult areas to rank up, I had 3 out of the 9 bugs in this video. The first one was the Monday morning bug. The second was failed tracking, because I had transferred the device and then just didn't realize I needed to pair the PokeGo++ again, which had all of the roll-on effects that I've talked about. And this is number 3, and this is brand new. No one else has reported this problem until, well, me today. So for the first time, I woke up in the morning, past 4 a.m, the game didn't ask me to synchronize at the title screen, and it went straight into the game where my Pokemon were on 0% energy, yet I did already pair the Go++ the day before. And I think it's a roll-on effect from the transfer of devices. I cleared cache, I did everything I could, and no matter what I did, the game still wouldn't ask me whether to synchronize at the title screen, until I completely reinstalled the game and logged in via my Gmail, and that seems to have fixed the problem. But unfortunately, that means that on the night before, all my Pokemon were tracking at 0% energy, because the game doesn't know that I had already tracked sleep, not until I press synchronize. Now, my concern is that perhaps for some people out there, they've never been asked to synchronize at the title screen and have always only synchronized their PokeGo++ inside the game, because they never knew that it was an option. So if you're wondering what it should look like, it should have this button at the title screen before you actually tap to start. That's how you get your energy recovered to the start of your sleep, not end of your sleep. And the solution to this? Firstly, make sure you have linked your account to some sort of backup. I would prefer multiple backups, as well as saving the transfer code here. And then just completely uninstalling the game and reinstall it. That seems to have fixed it for me. So those were the 9 bugs or problems or poor game design issues in this game right now that I've come up with. If there's anything that you think I've missed and you want to bring it to light, go to the comment section and I'll highlight it if it's important. There are 2 honorary mentions. One is this random bug that I got one day, it was actually today, where there was just no music. There were sound effects, but there were no music. Very simple fix, you just have to restart your game. But it's just strange that all I could hear was Snorlax's munching noises, and you can see that in my setting that it's not like I turned off the music setting. See, music setting, sound effects, everything was alright. So it was just a random bug I got, but restarting the game seems to have fixed it. And the second honorary mention, now I don't think there's going to be a fix for this, because this is more of a design problem. But when you accidentally roll over the PokeGo++, again, this is not an isolated case. I've actually had this happen to me once. Because it's just a giant button on the top surface of the device, so it's very easy to roll over it and then ending tracking, and it's really detrimental to your sleep session. Again, I won't go into details because I've actually explained this in another video once, this one here. But don't do what I did. When I realized that I had accidentally rolled over the device and it made the ending tracking noise, I immediately pressed it again, hoping that somehow the game would be smart enough to link the two sessions, realizing that actually they're the same sleep session. But alas, it did not consider it that. It considered it as two separate sessions, which is not good, because that second session that you initiated could be a third session, which you do not get any reward for. But in my case, it was the second session, which is still not good because the bonus biscuit gets auto-fed, so automatically fed to a random Pokemon from session 1. You don't get to interact with session 1. It just automatically gets fed, then it goes straight into your second session, so the one where I started again in the middle of the night. So again, not much of a bug so much as it is a game design problem, or in this case even a device design problem. My fix is just to put the PokeGo++ a bit further away. Some people put it in a little protective casing to protect the button from being pressed in the middle of the night. That works as well. That's the 9 bugs that I have to say for today. If any of the bugs do get patched moving forwards, I will let you guys know via the comments. I will leave 9 comments for you guys to vote to let us know which bug has affected you in the past. And any that gets fixed, I will let you know in the reply of that comment. But if you don't hear back from me, we might just be stuck with these bugs forever. Don't forget to like and subscribe.